Hello, this is Nikki, and this is another speech, and here's my audience. I am here this evening to inform my audience of 3 factors when selecting a bottle of wine. How many times have you set out to purchase a bottle of wine only to come home with something that had a really cool label on it? Have you ever wanted to order wine in a restaurant but didn't know where to start? Have you ever served the wrong wine even though the salesperson convinced you it would be perfect? It is no secret that wine is an alcoholic beverage which suits a large variety of occasions, from specializing with friends and family to an ideal accompaniment to food and in celebration. Last year, according to business website Statista, over 130 million people drank wine costing nearly $10 billion.
Oh.
How much is 130 million? 130 million is all the people in California, Florida, Illinois, New York, Pennsylvania, and Texas. With key points on price, preference, and pairing, one can select a great bottle of wine without breaking the bank. As a wine enthusiast, I believe that great wines have their purpose and place. I have collected information from Statista, Food and Wine, and Wine Enthusiast. I will share that although wine is big business in the U.S. and abroad, purchasing it doesn't have to be intimidating. The main points I will cover on purchasing a bottle of wine include first price, second preference, and third pairing. So let's get started. How much you're willing to spend or your personal price points on a bottle of wine will help you decide what wine you can purchase. It can be argued that good wine is expensive, which is why wine prices are subjective. However, in today's cost-conscious society, one can purchase a good bottle of wine, according to Wine Enthusiast, for around $15 or even less and still meet a high quality to price ratio. We have talked about the price of wine. Now let's consider wine preferences. Preference of wine is subjective, much like the price, and tastes differ from person to person. Wine is typically based on the meal that is being served and the people that it is being served to. Food and Wine suggests that when it comes to wine preference, ask yourself 2 questions. Number 1, how much do you like tart or acidic flavors? And number 2, do you prefer lighter or richer foods? If you prefer lower acid, lighter fare, Moscato and Pinot Noir are wine types for you. If you like lower acid, rich foods, look for a Chardonnay or a Zinfandel. If you prefer higher acidity and light foods, look for a Pinot Grigio, Barbera, or a Pinot Noir. If you prefer high acidity and rich foods, seek out a Sangiovese, Bruno de Montalcino, or Cabernet Sauvignon. Now that we've covered preference, let's look at wine pairing. Much like price and preference, pairing wines with food is also somewhat subjective. When wine is paired with food, one needs to consider what the key ingredient in the dish is. Will it be red meat or will it be white meat? Will there be fruits or spices in the dish? Will there be herbs, dried or fresh, in the dish? How you answer these questions will help you decide which wines will complement specific dishes. Sauvignon Blanc, like the first example here, has a $12 price point and grassy, bright citrus acidity, which mimics freshly squeezed lemon or lime juice. This wine works well with green veggies, fresh herbs, delicate fish, tangy foods, and tart dressings or sauces. Chardonnay can take on a mineral taste that complements oysters, mussels, or light seafood, whereas a buttery, silky Chardonnay, like this example, for $13 works well with chicken, salmon, or a cream-based sauce. Pinot Noir can take on earthy flavors which partner well with bison steaks or mushrooms, while its delicate nature and berry profiles work well with pork, sushi, and fish like tuna and salmon. This example of Pinot Noir I provided has a $15 price point. Cabernet Sauvignon has a big, bold taste of dark fruit, such as black cherry, blackberry, and cassis. The tannins in red wine give it its structure and complement rich red meats like braised lamb or pork and steak. The bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon here cost $18. These wines that I selected are from a wine shop close to where we live, and I tried to keep them all around that $15 price point, which I mentioned earlier in the speech. The topic for this speech was how to utilize 3 suggested factors to purchase a bottle of wine. The main points of this speech were first, price, second, preference, and third, pairing. I now invite you to take the main points of this speech and go out and purchase a few bottles of red as well as white wines based on your own flavor preferences. I also urge you to have fun with the tasting. Be safe and take into consideration that wine is subjective based on your own tastes and doesn't need to be influenced by the cool labels on the wine bottles. Thank you.
Wonderful. One more pan. Okay.
I can't throw the
Excellent.
confetti yet.